Hey everyone, welcome to the Vinylmation Isle YouTube channel. Since last week, Disney shared some information on the upcoming Vinylmation series Pirates of the Caribbean 2. I thought that, as this was a surprise to me, I would make a video to share that information with y'all and also to give my review on the series. So, let's get started. Here is the first figure from the Pirates of the Caribbean Series 2, and this is the Pirate Auctioneer from the ride. There has been a Pirate Auctioneer figure before. It was designed by Randy Noble and it was in Park 3. I'm going to show you my figure of that in a second so you can compare the two. But this one is very different. If you have the figure from Park 3, I can see definitely a reason to have this figure too. I think Davy Jones has gone for a more realist design here. I think that Randy Noble's version it's great. I mean, I own it, I love it. But it's a different take. That one is way more kind of cutesy. It's like an adorable, cartoony kind of figure. This one here in Pirates of the Caribbean Series 2, I think is more realistic, more human looking, less cartoony, and I would say looks more like the character from the ride. You can see more detail in the face, in the facial features, and the expression there. His outfit is a lot more detailed. He's got his cravat there, and the ruby pendant that he wears you can see around his neck. The outfit's more detailed. He's also got an actual hat accessory this time. The Park 3 version just has that painted on. I do like this figure a lot. I like the different take. I like that it's different to the Park 3 version. And I like that it's a figure in its own right there. And I like that it is detailed and it does look like him. The hat accessory is awesome. That's always a welcome addition in my book. It does look more human, but I do think that the one thing I would critique on this vinyl would be the eyes. They're just kind of like blue circles and not actual detailed eyes, and I think that's a little weird, but overall, really do like this figure. I'm going to show you the picture of the character from the ride now, just so that you can compare the two. So here's a photo of the Pirate Auctioneer from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Okay, so just to compare this Pirate Auctioneer by Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean Series 2 with the first Pirate Auctioneer that we had by Randy Noble in Park 3, here is my Vinylmation figure of the Park 3 Pirate Auctioneer. So you can see the differences here. His hat there is painted on, as is the bandana. You can see his outfit there, just not as detailed. Facial features, as you can see what I mean, more cartoony and kind of cutesy to what we have in this upcoming series. The next figure that we have in this series is one of the pirate prisoners in the jail in the final scene of the ride. You can see the bars of the jail in his ears, which I think is a really neat touch, with black in the background because it's a pretty dimly lit scene. The detail in this vinyl is pretty impressive. The outfit is spot on. He's got his red and black striped shirt there, his vest, and the yellow band around his waist too. The facial features are really awesome. This is one of the older prisoners there. You can see that in his face. The eyes are really great, kind of captures his sad, desperate maybe emotion of being in the jail. And of course, true to life, his hair and his beard there, and that's gray, just like the character. I think this is just a really accurate, well done vinyl. I can't think of a single negative thing to say about it. Here's the picture of the jail scene in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. You can see the prisoner that the vinyl is based off of is the prisoner there on the far right. So this vinyl here is Davy Jones. He is featured toward the beginning of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. You see him in the kind of smoky fog stuff that comes down from the ceiling. His face is portrayed there. So a really interesting choice actually for this series. Although he's featured in the ride, he's kind of a newer addition and not something that immediately comes to mind when I think of the ride, so it's not a character that I would have picked. that I would have thought would be in this series, but it is a really neat choice, and something a little different there. We don't have too much of that in the first Pirates of the Caribbean series, not too much of the movie characters that feature in the ride, so that's interesting. I love the hat accessory and the cute and neat little details of the bubbles that go on the hat and also on the back of the vinyl and down toward his feet. Some really neat little less noticeable details here, like on his arms, and also he's wearing a belt there. Love, love, love all of the detail in his face, just the deep set lines that he has, and around his eyes too. The eyes especially are amazing. The tentacles, I just feel like there's a lot going on there for such a small sized Mickey mold, and that's pretty impressive to me. And something else that I really, really love is the claw that he has for his left hand. We've seen claws like this with Sebastian, one of the Vinylmation figures in Animation 2. It was also designed by Davy Jones. So it's really nice to see that again on a vinyl, especially how more appropriate than Davy Jones. Here's the picture of Davy Jones as you see him in the ride. You can see the bubbles there too. Then we have a figure that I know is just going to be so popular. There's been huge outcry for a while in the Vinylmation community for a Vinylmation of the Redhead from Pirates of the Caribbean. And we got one in Park Stars too, but now we have one in 3-inch form, which is just awesome. I'm sure that even if you have the Park Stars version, there's people that are going to want this one too. As for me, I was holding out for a 3-inch. I didn't really want the Park Stars version. I don't dislike Park Stars, but I do prefer the 3-inch. So it's really exciting to finally have her in this series. She has an awesome hat accessory. She's got a really great outfit that looks just like how she looks in the ride. A lot of good facial detail there. I would say that she looks pretty close to the character in the ride, and I love the way that the face has been done with the hair so that she doesn't look too chubby. Sometimes humans do look kind of chubby on the Mickey mold, but I think she's been done really well. She looks almost completely like the real thing. She doesn't look too chubby, but she's been done really well with the hair, and just the hair's done beautifully. So I really, really like this figure. Here's a picture of the Redhead from the ride. I really like this figure actually. Maybe not the most obvious character from the ride when you first see it, but I've been on Pirates of the Caribbean so many times. I saw this and I instantly knew who it was and thought it was an awesome pick. Just a really, really good choice to me because for me it's so memorable. This is one of the pirates that sings the song next to a donkey in the version at the Magic Kingdom. I'm not sure about Disneyland, but he's a slightly chubbier guy and he's singing away there, and he's really iconic to me. So I think if you're as big a fan of the ride as I am, you're going to like this vinyl too. So it's one of the singing pirates, and it's been done well. It's got the kind of stars going on in his ears, which I think is nice. So that might be a little plain for some people, but I like it because the scene that he's featured in, it is outside at nighttime, so I think that's appropriate. He's got his red hat there, just like he wears in the ride. It kind of tilts to the side there. Got a yellow scarf on in the ride. He's wearing that. He's also got the striped shirt and the striped pants on this figure, just like he does in the ride. And the facial expression to me just blew me away because in the ride, this character does have this big kind of goofy smile and these really happy looking eyes, and I think the expression that Casey's done on this vinyl matches that perfectly. So really, really impressive, extremely well done figure, and a good choice of figure too. Here's a picture of the singing pirates in the ride. You can see that the singer that this vinyl is based off is the one there in the middle. The next figure you can see here is the skeleton Helmsman, and this is a repeated figure actually. There was one by Maria Clapsis in Park 5, and there was also one by Casey Jones in the first Pirates of the Caribbean. So it's interesting to see Casey do this exact same figure again, but it has been done differently, this one. It's a lot more detailed actually. You can see that the ripped clothing he's wearing is just a lot more detailed there. Hard to describe, but by looking at it, you can really see that there. And also in the bones and the skeleton, there's a lot more shading on the bones there. Looks a lot more skeletal on his arms, and especially in his face, which otherwise is very similar, but with the shading does look a lot more skeletal there. The ears are the biggest difference there. You can see that instead of the stars, like the first Pirates of the Caribbean Helmsman has, this one actually has the lightning in the ears from the thunder and lightning scene going on behind the skeleton Helmsman in the ride. And also another little difference here, the bandana on this figure goes around his head, but on the first figure it kind of covers the whole top of his head there. So good to see a repeat done in such a different way. I don't think I'd be so happy to see a repeat if it looked a lot more like the last one. But again, interesting to see that that figure has been chosen again here. And here is a picture of the skeleton Helmsman in the ride, just so you can see the inspiration for each of Casey's skeleton Helmsman figures. And for you to compare with Casey Jones's first skeleton Helmsman from Pirates of the Caribbean Series 1, here is my vinyl. Hopefully you can see what I mean there, the differences, especially with the ears, but also the detail there. So here is the last figure that we know about right now in the Pirates of the Caribbean Series 2 set. This is the guy that's getting dunked in and out. This figure is another good choice in my opinion. It's something memorable and kind of a funny gag there from the ride. So good choice. I like the little details here. The ropes tied around him. Also from his waist down his feet, you can see that that part is the well itself. It does look like a good kind of concrete design there of the well with the cracks and the chips there to show its age. Really neat. The facial expression I love. It's funny, but at the same time it looks just like the character from the ride. You can see the shock and the fear that's on his face because he's not enjoying this. And also the drops of water coming down his head from how he's wet from being dunked in there. That's a really cool addition there too to the design. And again, this is one of the scenes that takes place outside at night, so we've got the stars there in his ears too. And again, for you to see the character from the ride here, here's a picture of the man getting dunked in the well. So that's my review of Pirates of the Caribbean Series 2. This series is going to be released on April 25th. It's an 8-figure blind box set. I've shown you the 7 commons, and there's also going to be 1 chaser. I really don't know who the chaser is going to be. All I can think of is that maybe it would be one of the mermaids that they added recently to the ride, or maybe another Jack Sparrow. He's in more than one scene in the ride, and we have just one scene that he's in vinyl form right now, so maybe it will be another one of those. I'm not sure, and I don't know who I would want it to be either, except for maybe the parrot that used to be outside of the ride. That would be cool for me, just as like a acknowledgement to how the ride used to be before the movie. So. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you want to see more Vinylmation videos from me. Be sure to also check out my blog, vinylmationisle.blogspot.com. There is a link down below this video in the description and also on my YouTube page. And until next time, thanks for watching again. Collect what you love and have a magical day.